week 4 into this current term, looking at awareness and the anatomy of awareness, as we've been calling it. So yeah, we looked at various aspects of awareness. So we've been looking at how awareness could be seen to be distinct from everything that arises in it. Our experience arises in awareness. So our thoughts, our feelings, sensations, emotions, perceptions, sight, sound, are all things that arise in awareness. But awareness itself is distinct from those. It's as if it's the thing that sees everything that arises. And last week we were looking at an aspect of awareness which we could call the mobile or interactive aspect of awareness, as being like an interface between our conscious thinking mind and our direct experience. So, we say to ourselves, become aware of the breathing, and attention's able to go to that aspect of our experience that is to do with the breathing. And we're able to become absorbed in our experience because of that ability to focus and to keep attention on our experience. So there's this mobile interactive quality to awareness. But in the first week, we were looking at how awareness is also just something that is there. It's just there when we are awake. Awareness just arises. We don't have to do anything to bring awareness into being. It's just there. And it's there with everything that we experience. And you could say that it's intimate with everything that we experience. In a sense, you can't separate out experiencing from the awareness of experiencing. And then last week we were looking at how awareness is obstructed by the mentally constructed part of our experience. So mentally constructed, the thinking mind, often overlays onto our experience an idea about what is going on. And it stops us from seeing experience directly as it is. So we did these exercises, for instance, the imagining of an orange and eating an orange and smelling an orange, and seeing an orange from what we know to be the actual experience of that. So like the mentally constructed idea of the orange is different from the direct experience of it. And using that as a way to point to this idea of direct experience as opposed to staying within this kind of mentally constructed version of our experience. And then we came to look at the body in that same way. So we looked at the body, for instance, by going to the big toe, and how do we actually get to that place in experience? And we've got this sort of mentally constructed picture of the body that we often work with. But if we let go of that mentally constructed experience, if we actually sort of get to the big toe or whatever part of the body, the actual experience when we're there is different. So yeah, we've got this mental construction of our experience going on all the time. And you could say Buddhist practice in a way is about trying to strip back the many layers of that mentally constructed experience, going right down to the mentally constructed version of ourselves that we have and we continually repeat to ourselves, and how that mentally constructed version of ourselves has a strong effect on how we experience life, on who we think we are, and what we think is going on in our experience, in our relationship to our experience, in our relationship to others, and in our relationship to the world. And why is this important? Well, it's important if we want to come into a truer relationship to reality, we could say. Reality is what's going on beneath the various sort of layers of our constructed experience. And in meditation, it's useful if we want to become absorbed in the breath, and gain the benefits of that absorption in terms of personal peace, calm, integration, etc. We need to be able to see our experience beyond the mental. In traditional meditation practice or Buddhist meditation practice, we can come at this through exploring the hindrances, which are a categorization of those different kinds of mental construction, or let's say mental emotional construction, that get in the way of seeing. And what we've been doing over the last few weeks is another way, if you like, of coming to that, by just directly exploring our experience as it appears. Okay, so I thought today we can carry on with more of this exploration by doing a few more exercises like we did last week. So I've got 3 or 4 exercises that we could do, we'll do them, and we'll have a chance after each exercise to just have a bit of a feedback about how that was. Yeah, so let's jump in there with these exercises. So if you want to get yourselves set up for meditation, or you don't have to do this you don't have to do these in a meditative posture if you don't want to. So bearing in mind those exercises we were doing last week, just want you to think about my body. So when we think about our body, what comes up? So at this point we might get into sort of ideas and stories about the body or our relationship to it, like whether we like our body or not, but more looking to just the basic notion of the body as it appears in the mind. So this body here now. So it may be that when we think about the body, we think about it as a shape, or maybe some kind of mental outline of the body. Maybe some sense of what we think our body looks like. So is this notion of the body something that the mind is doing? So by mind here, talking about the thinking mind. So that's ideas, thoughts in the form of words, but also mental pictures. So if we can notice what this notion of my body, how much of that notion is constructed by thoughts or images. And can we step out of thoughts and images and ideas that the thinking mind is having about the body and into more of a direct experience of it? just be receptive to the body without the mental images. So you can do this with the body as a whole, but also can go to particular areas of the body, say like the hands, and noticing, if we can, whether we've got a kind of image of the hands that's overlaying onto an experience, a direct experience. We can allow that mental imaging just to evaporate, as it were, and just be left with the sensate experience. Okay, just drawing that exercise to a close. So we have an assumption about the body as a kind of container. The body has, a definite edge to it, like Lisa was talking about there. And we can see our body. Well, we never actually see all of our body. We see parts of our body. And we just assume that there's this edge to it. I mean, scientifically, it's probably because our eyesight's not good enough. If we had sufficiently good eyesight, we see that actually the skin of the body is something that is constantly interacting with the environment around it. The skin actually breathes, cells are coming off of it, new cells are forming. But yeah, we don't need to have a Superman eyesight to explore this. We can explore this in direct experience. So probably best done with the eyes closed, this exercise. Becoming aware of the body as a whole. And then focusing in on an area of the body where we feel contact with something that's outside of the body. So a good place to notice this is between our buttocks and whatever it is we're sitting on. It's taking attention into that part of the body. So the mental construction, the assumption here is that there's a distinct edge where the body ends and the chair or cushions begin. If we can look beyond that mental idea and look at the direct experience, can we actually find the edge of the body and the beginning of the chair or cushion? What in awareness and direct experience is actually going on when we look in this area? Can we describe what that experience of that supposed edge is like? We'll do this with one other point of contact. So find another point of contact where the body is touching something that we consider to be outside the body, maybe through the hands or the feet. And again, Going to where we think that edge is, between the hands or feet and whatever they're in contact with. And looking closely at what their experience of that edge is actually like. Is there an actual edge there where one thing stops and the other starts? Or is that in fact just a mental picture, an idea about an edge? So it might be at this point like the mind, the thinking mind, is telling us one thing about our experience, but our awareness is telling us something different. There's clearly experience happening. Can we actually describe it as an edge, a distinct boundary? So just drawing that exercise to a close. So any reflections? What was happening? Your experience? Did you find an edge? Maybe you found one. Okay. Um, so going back into the body, awareness of the body. Going to, just as we have done to those supposed edges of the body, so if we have found that there is no distinct edge, what is it that we are actually experiencing in that part of the body? And if there are distinct mental ideas of what that part of the body is or looks like, we're able to just recognize this is a mental map of the body, and to look beyond that to what is actually there. So we often think of the body as being solid. And from an everyday point of view, a practical point of view, that's true. But in direct awareness, does the body appear solid? So there are usually areas of the body that feel more solid than others. So the contact with the cushions and the seat is often one of those areas. Or again, the feet, or the contact with the hands. Although there seems more, as it were, intensity in that part of the body, could we actually say that it is solid? Or is that, again, more of a mental idea we have about experience? So we're looking from the point of view of awareness, we're not thinking about this. We know that with a solid body we walk into a wall or hit an object. We're looking just now how the body appears in awareness. So if the body doesn't appear as solid in any way, how would we describe the experience that's there? Of the body. So if we had a blank sheet of white paper, how would we draw this experience of the body onto that sheet of paper? Would we draw something with a definite outline from the point of view of experience? Or would it look more like a series of dots or dashes, more dots and dashes in some parts of the body than others? So just drawing that exercise to a close. So I appreciate we're just coming up to 2 o'clock, but maybe